Hi, everybody. It's Avalon. I wanted to come on today and talk to you guys about something I don't know that I've really talked much about, and that is my crack addiction that went along with my heroin addiction. I talk a lot about heroin and opiates, but I have to say that I started using crack quite a bit along with it, and I when I started using heroin and I just kind of like the bottom fell out. Like when I say that, I mean like I was going along and I was using opiates. And but when I started using heroin and using the needle, everything just kind of went to hell in a handbasket. Like it went to hell quick. The bottom fell out and I just was like full on balls to the wall addiction. And I just would do anything. And and so I was introduced to. I had tried crack back in probably the late 80s, like 90, 91, and loved it. And the very first time I ever tried it, I didn't know I was trying it. My ex-husband bought some joints from this guy. We lived in Homestead, Florida, and this guy named Frankie. My ex-husband is like, drive by his house. I want to get a couple joints. I'm not really into pot. Never was. Wasn't my thing. But so we stopped. He got his joints, and he told me to pull down in next to a canal down this dirt road. And he says, "Here, I want you to just take a hit of this." I'm like, I'm not. And he says, "Just try it." When I tried it, this feeling of just amazing euphoria came over me. I can remember that feeling like it was yesterday. It was so intense, so beautiful. I was like instantly like I'm like, "What is this?" And he says, "There's Kraken laced in the joints." Oh my gosh! Listen, I fell hard. Like that's all I wanted. And then I ended up marrying him. Oof. And then I started having babies, and so things changed. I know, we didn't do that anymore. I was a wife and a mother. I was focused on raising my kids, and I just didn't, it just wasn't part of my life. And but when I, got into the drug scene in my addiction, I, was reintroduced to it, and I loved it. Again, I loved it. And so I started, what I would have to get enough money to not be sick for dope. But if I got extra, like if I found money, if I stole money and I had a lot of money, like around like paydays, I would always get crack, always. But I always had to have a couple bags of dope for when I was done smoking because I hated the feeling of come down. I fucking hated it. It was awful. And that's the thing about crack for me is I started realizing if I didn't have couple bags of dope to come down with, I wasn't gonna do it because that's how bad I hated the come down of crack. You can't, you're jittery and you feel like shit and you can't sleep and, it's awful. So, and that's, one of the reasons why it's so addictive and why people just go on binges because, to avoid that come down feeling, you want to stay up. And, and so, I think even now, I sometimes crave crack more than I do heroin. That first hit of crack is when it hits your system is the most amazing feeling. Like, it's euphoric. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And you just keep going to try to chase that feeling. And, so I sometimes crave it still to this day. And bath salt, I went through my bath salt period. That first hit was amazing, euphoric. And that is what I crave. That's why sometimes when I say I can't watch the, intervention or shows where it shows people using, what bothers me the most are watching people smoke crack, because it causes me to jones for that feeling. And, I try not to watch that kind of stuff, because I don't like that feeling of jonesing and that. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, a lot of us were cross addicted. A lot of us, were, whatever would fill the hole, that hole inside, and once I introduced the needle and I was a full-blown drug addict, I would do anything. Like, I would try anything. I never tried crystal meth in the pipe. I only did the homemade meth, and it wasn't my thing. And I'm glad I got out before the crystal meth hit my town, because I think I would probably love it, and would probably be a meth addict. My daughter is, and she says, "Mom, it's a good thing you never tried it, because it's one of the hardest things to not do." And I understand that, And here's, this is one of the reasons why I don't live in my town, because I knew that if I don't know where it is, it's going to be easier for me to not do it. So I moved away, and I live in a town where I don't know anybody. We've been here probably 4.5 years in this particular town. I don't know where drugs are. I don't want to know. Because what if something were to happen? I knew where the drugs were. And, that would make it that much harder to stay away from it. So I just, ignorance is bliss sometimes. And I don't trust my addiction. I don't trust that I wouldn't say, oh, one hit won't hurt me. I don't trust it. I respect my addiction enough to know once I start, I can't stop. And there's no one hit of crack. It doesn't exist. There's no one bag of dope. It doesn't exist. So there's a little bit of that story. I did a live stream, my last video, and at the end of that, did a Kratom giveaway, and nobody has guessed. Maybe nobody watched the whole video. It's kind of discouraging. But yeah, go watch the video. I have a Kratom giveaway, and I think I said I was gonna announce the winner Saturday, but nobody has signed up. So, all right, I will let you go. I hope you're all having a good day. Brightest blessings, and God is blessed.